This is Corporate Warrior, high-intensity training lifestyle and business with Lawrence Neal, helping you improve your health and physique, become a great personal trainer, and start and grow your hit business.
All right, we are here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we are at the Resistance Exercise Conference 2019.
We did it.
It's the 8th year that they've been doing the REC?
Good question. I don't actually know how long it's been going.
I feel like it's right around 7 or 8. Yeah, 7 or 8 years.
Possibly maybe longer.
Yeah. So, of course, we have the one and only Lawrence Neal with us today from Corporate Warrior. Soon to be potentially something new. But we just thought we'd sit down, chat a little bit about the state of our little mini industry here in high-intensity training, as well as some of the stuff that we're seeing out there with our customers who are using ARX, and just the new kind of paradigm, the new kind of model that's being built out there. But yeah, so here we are, man. Let's kick it off.
There it is.
So first thing would be, out of all the podcasts, all the things that you've been interviewing people on podcasts doing over the years, what are some of the things that you're hearing like over and over again from some of those people, also from some of the membership that you have in your private members group? Like, give us kind of the state of what's going on from your perspective.
Well, in terms of like businesses in high intensity training, more or less. Yeah,
more than that. Not like, does this set rep combination is like the hot new thing.
Right,
none of that.
Yeah.
More about the business side of things.
Sure, got it, yeah. No, that's a good question. Obviously, we were talking about this a bit last night. And I think, I'm starting to see with the membership, which is a service where I help, obviously, the hit business owners grow their business. I'm seeing like trends starting to form. Like, okay, what do my customers look like? Where are they in their kind of business journey? And, what I was saying to you guys yesterday was like, there's this kind of growing trend of people who have had a career, a 30, 40 year career in banking, let's say, or fill in the blank. And they've had perhaps quite a lot of financial success. They tend to be quite smart people. Obviously, everyone who's into ARX and HIT is smart, right?
Of course. It's borderline genius.
Right, yeah, indeed.
Yeah, if I'm being honest.
So they come across body. This is often the chain of events. They'll kind of come across Body by Science or something similar, get super inspired, totally change their paradigm around exercise, and then just want to start a business in it. They become passionate about it and want to start a business in it. And, maybe they've got a nice nest egg and they've got some capital they can invest in a hit business. And I think, what I'm seeing happen quite a lot is just a lot of interest in what you guys are doing. You guys, certainly from where I'm standing and from what I know, are probably the leaders in the technology space in strength training. Just in terms of what you can provide with regard to the ability to track performance. And I mean, Jim, before this, you were nerding out with me on all the different protocols you can do. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love all the other technologies. I love MedX, I love Nautilus, Pendulum, Hammer Strength, all the stuff we're going to be using this weekend. But I just think that ARX from a business model point of view, and also from just a training efficiency, seems to be leading the way, and seems to be the default, product to look at for a lot of these new business owners. So it's quite exciting to be part of that. And I'm really kind of honored to be able to help that along a little bit as much as I can. So I'm seeing that. That's my first observation. And then also, again, we were talking about this yesterday, and I was talking to your CMO, Jason, just how much interest there is in this whole biohacking movement. People that buy ARX are rarely just going for ARX. They're buying the Carol bike, the Vespa, the infrared sauna, and all the rest of it. And understanding that all of these form this kind of like holistic service for exercise and recovery. And that's very interesting to me, and something I'm trying to get into a bit more and understand more and be able to. I think there's lots of people out there doing a great job in terms of educating people on the health benefits and the science that underpins a lot of these new technologies. But what I'm going to be doing more of is, okay, how do you use this in a business model? Yeah, like, okay, so you've got infrared sauna, great. How do you sell that? How do you price it?
Sure.
How do you market it?
Right.
All of that. I mean, maybe there is a little bit out there already doing that, but I'm trying to take this encompass it all and help these businesses grow, basically. So
yeah. There's like we were talking about the idea of what the next 10 years maybe looks like. And right now it's a little bit like the wild, wild west, because when you talk about infrared saunas, well, which of the 7 different manufacturers are you going to go with?
They're growing. There's more all the time. It seems like who are like trying to throw their hat in the ring.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited with like what you're doing in the next year or two, and like you're talking about this sort of rebranding, this sort of new direction of how do you help these type of businesses. And I think the high intensity training world is it's a little bit like the evolution of the ape slowly becoming a human. It's like in the 80s, to go for your health and fitness, you went to the gym, you went to a weight room with a bunch of hamster wheels and things and metal weights that our great-great-grandfathers would recognize and be able to use. And so that's how it's been for even now. The majority of the population is like that, where let's go to the gym. That's where I get my health and fitness. So the people at the REC, that's like this next step where it's like, you don't need to go to the big gym. Come here. Mm-hmm. It's a more efficient, safer way to do that same thing. And I feel like what where you're headed and the types of facilities of which we are a part are that next version of, well, now you don't even need to do, now you can take that whole studio space full of Medics or Nautilus or what have you and shrink it into 2 ARX machines, each of which is the footprint of like a large couch. And now you have all this other space to put in some cryotherapy or a float tank or a meditation room or infrared sauna, Juve light, PEMF bed, and what have you. And then, we're looking for a business model that will emerge that is the most successful just through natural competition.
Yeah, letting the market decide. It's fascinating to see what it will look like in sort of 5 to 10 years' time.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, we've actually seen that last 5 years because we've been a part of some of those, forward-thinking conferences like Bulletproof and Paleo Effects, and we were always just we were at Paleo Effects 2014.
So what do you guys do? We make space tanks.
And I'm like, how is that caveman?
Yeah, how is this paleo?
And you're like, well,
the thing is this: you punch in what year you want to go to, and it takes it's cool.
It's kind of like a straw man type. You must get,
of course,
it's paleo, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
But when we got excited about ARX and when it started to become what it is now, there was no other companies that were taking that approach of, and if there were, we didn't know about them, that were taking the approach of like, we're going to add, I think high intensity is, from our world, is always about like strength training. There's a lot of other people who are doing like high intensity versions of infrared saunas and high intensity versions of like cardiovascular training. And all of these things are becoming more efficient and more effective, more potent.
And more able to be quantified.
And that's also, the technology is now catching up with that side. But when we were first starting, that was just not available. Like there weren't enough people who were all communicating. They weren't out to market yet. And in 5 years, we went from being the only vendor at Paleo Effects and pretty much the only vendor at Bulletproof too, that was doing like some kind of technological advancement in exercise, to last year there's PEMF therapy, there's vascular training, there's like a bunch of other people who are dabbling in some area of that. Like
the movement, you could feel it kind of, as I think Mike was describing the other day, people who may or may not realize that the ground is shifting under all of our feet right now. There's like a movement happening. And so you can ride the wave, you can move to a different place, you can advance, or you can just stay stuck.
Right.
This is the best. This is my way, and this is the best way, and this has worked for this many years, and it's going to keep working, and that's going away.
I mean, there is from what I understand, there is some people taking kind of a hybrid approach to this. I mean, if you look at Live Oak Strength and Everstrong, they have the ARX, and I think they're about to acquire a Carroll bike as well. But then they also have a Medix overhead press and a few Medix pieces around. I don't know whether that's legacy or whether that's like to complement what the ARX can do. Maybe because I don't know if they have the Omni and the Alpha. I'm not sure. I mean, you guys will obviously know that. But I wonder, because I empathize with those that have maybe invested in a lot of Nautilus, Medex,
Sure.
fill in the blank, that type of kit. And I know you guys, obviously you love ARX, but you also have a soft spot for some of those machines. And
that's where I came from, that
and
Arthur Jones world.
Right, exactly. And it makes me somewhat sad to think that there might be a future where that doesn't work out. A part of me doesn't want that to be the way,
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of trying to, I guess, say to people that, you don't have to necessarily bin it all.
It's not one or the other. And we often say, equestrians are going to ride horses. Even if we're over here building teleporters, they're going to ride horses because they like horses.
Right.
But even equestrians get in their cars to go to the grocery store or to go see family or to go, but then they still have their horses and it's fine. And so there's people who I like lifting weights. I like the feeling of, and that's cool. And
do you still lift weights?
No, I haven't lifted a weight since 2013. I'm very.
Are you serious? You're just ARX and that's it?
ARX only, yeah. I was. I grew up. I was a big fat guy, and then got regular sized. And then 2013, I was like kind of skinny fat. I was small, like early low 180s maybe, and which for me was a great after picture from being so large.
Yeah, sure.
But that was when I took delivery. There's a great picture of me just kind of scrawny, picture in the mirror, like, yeah, I did it. And then that was when I took delivery of ARX in September 2013, when I first got access to ARX. It's 2019 now, and hanging out at 205, 210, and have done nothing but ARX for 6 years. And but yeah, there's no use. I'm more pragmatic. I don't have a lot of sentimental value to weights. Like they're really lifting weights. For me, it was something I had to do to stay in shape or to get the effect I wanted. And so, well, here's this better tool. So why would I? Like there were a bunch of people at the turn of the previous century who were like, great. I don't have to ride horses anymore. This is fantastic. Yeah. I don't have to take care of them, figure out the shoes, you got to feed them, and salt licks, and they poop everywhere. And so now I have this internal combustion engine because this horse's carriage is great. Yeah. And so there are going to be some holdovers and some legacy people who really like lifting weights. But for the rest of us, and for the millions and millions of people who need strength training for health and longevity, but who are not going to go to a weight room, clinically controlled or weight room.
It's the majority of people.
Yeah. And people who, it's a growing number of people who've read all the articles, they've seen the interviews, they know they need strength training, bone density and metabolic flexibility and all the big long list of benefits to strength training. But I'm just not going to go to a weight room. It's not happening. I'm going to be 60, 70, 80, and slowly circle the drain, and I still won't go to a weight room to get the medicine. Yeah. And so part of our technology, what we're really most excited about is, it's the people who work out already. Here's a better way to do what you do, and that's nice, and you can do that. But then here's this far larger slice of the pie, and it's just, you people don't do any strength training right now. So the least you can do is come once a week and do your 10 minutes.
What is the the conversion percentage? I mean, maybe this is a really hard question to answer, but I'd be curious, there are obviously people that try here, and maybe there's nuances with the way it's instructed or managed or whatever, but they just don't like it and they don't come back. But like with ARX, when you've got someone untrained, do you find the vast majority are like, this is it, I love this, or and B, do you get like a small percentage who are like, oh, this is weird, like it's too scary? Tell me about the type of feedback you get from new people who try it for the first time, like untrained people I'd be interested in.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a way to do it wrong and scare people off. So that's why we're, with our customers, we're very particular about training them on how to do an ARX demo. What should someone's first ARX experience look like? Because if you give them too much, then it's exactly what you're describing. Well, that was horrible. My muscles burned the whole time. It was way too much. They made me do things I didn't want to do. I was sore for a week. I hate it. And then other people are like, they pushed me too hard, and they gave me a whole bunch of burn, and I was sore for a week, and I love it. It's the best thing I've ever done. So we have a demo protocol that gives you sort of like a sub-maximal effort, because people don't realize you can do any level of intensity on ARX instantly. Yeah. But on an advertisement for Ferrari, let's say, you're not going to see a Ferrari driving 30 miles an hour to the market and back, or parallel parking, or like, nobody wants to see it. It's not sexy. Yeah. So on all the ARX advertisements, we show people going all out and doing all this histrionics and stuff, because that's what sells and that's what's in the ad. So people get this mistaken idea that it's always got to be as hard as you can possibly go. And to be honest, there's hundreds of workouts that take place every day around the world using ARX that don't ever involve a voluntary 100% maximum effort. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people who still can get progressive overload can get all the medical benefits of strength training without ever being that intense. And you can measure that. But what always happens is 8 weeks in, 12 weeks in, 16 weeks in, once they're confident in the safety of the technology, and once they're trusting of the proprietor of the location they're at and everything else, now they, little old ladies will just all of a sudden one day decide to fire up, and the machine will match them, of course, instantly. And so it's that idea of you have to match the demo to the person. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to do that, then retention is great. And people who try it are like, oh, finally a safe way to do strength training where I don't look stupid with little baby weights and doing weird stuff, where I don't have bros coming over helping me with my form and trying to, do that whole scene. And so for new people to come in, and it's more accessible, I would say, than the typical high intensity training gym, because it can be
probably
because the effort is up to you, the user. It's not some trainer who's picking a weight for you, who's going to push you maybe to do something you don't want to do. You can stop at any time. It's not overwhelming. Yeah. And so we find it's a good gateway drug to teach people to work hard without forcing their hand.
And what you find is that, and this is certainly what Luke told me once from Discover Strength, he said, when they would ask clients during the course of their training, like, how do they feel about their intensity? More often than not, they'd say, oh, you could push me harder. I could go, even like, seniors, people that you associate with not wanting to, as soon as they start developing some strength and building that confidence and skill, it's like, let's go, let's do this, And I think maybe there needs to be a greater appreciation in meeting people where they are in the beginning. And then like scaling that.
That just speaks more to what we were talking about before with like the new paradigm and a new service offering. So as a business, all of the people who are adopting ARX, and even Abe and Owen in the Bay Area in San Francisco, they have the older stuff, the MedX machines and Nautilus machines. And that's there because some people like that. Some people enjoy that service. There's a ton of people also that come through that want the service of, I want to get hit with as much,
just give me the message,
as much tension as you can hit me with, and I want to be in and out and done in less than 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I want to know that it's working. So I want all of that as a service as well. And then you also can add in a couple other people who are like, I just really like to do overhead press with a weight, or I do like lifting weights. And so this new paradigm that we see is that it's not just one piece of tech. It's not just one modality that they're offering. It's multiple, because all of these HIIT trainers, your personal trainer, whatever, you're not in the business of like researching exercise. You're in the service-based business. And if your clientele needs a service or they're asking for something, you need to provide that for them or you will go out of business. It's just how it works. And so that's what our customers are doing. And they're providing multiple services under one roof so that you can get the low skill person to come in and use ARX and feel like, oh, this is a safe place that I can work out in finally. That's why Planet Fitness in the States has just been exploded over the last 10 years, because they built their entire model on the idea that like there's no weight slamming. They have an alarm if there's any, what do they call it? Lunk alarm. So anybody who like makes grinding noises or throws stuff, they'll like hit an alarm.
Bro type activities frowned upon. And there's like free pizza on Tuesdays or like some weird thing. It's not.
That's very congruent.
Right. So they're not about like health and that sort of thing. But it's a service that people have decided that they want. These are my people, not the people at Export.
Gold's Gym?
Gold's Gym is not my crowd, but this is.
Yeah.
So they provided a new offering for those people to come and experience the exercise, same format, but do it in an environment that they feel more comfortable with. And that's being a good business who's providing their customers with the service that they're demanding. Yeah. That's what we're seeing, is that our customers and a lot of other people are trying to aggregate a couple pieces of technology so that they can provide a better service. And it's so fun because it's happening at a small entrepreneur level for the most part. Startups, people who are just, like you said earlier, when you were talking about like people who have made it a nice little nest egg for themselves over time. Like, I just want something for myself.
Yeah.
So grab 500 square feet like Abe Williams did in the middle of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And have 110 clients in less than a year.
Yeah.
And then you can expand and move and do that. But
well,
that's
just on that, I'd love to, one of the things I really want to talk about and ask you guys, and this is perhaps something we've touched on before, but I'm always interested to know what you guys are learning from your customers. So what are you, I mean, Abe is interesting because Abe has a product background. He's a fairly successful guy in his own right before obviously investing in ARX and starting a training business. But he certainly has the skills to go out and get business, is the way it looks like anyway. But I'd love to hear, like, what are the commonalities you see among those that invest in ARX in terms of those that are actually successful in growing their business and getting clients through the door? Like, what do you see, if you had to pick like a few things that you see across the board?
that people are doing well
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, or that are kind of responsible for helping them be successful.
Yeah, so the ones who are successful, what are some common threads
Exactly.
that make them successful?
Yeah.
I think just asses in the seats. ARX is a very experiential product. So
Yes.
if I tell you that you can get a better result than the weight room and it's an 8-minute workout, it happens once per week.
Bullshit.
Obviously bullshit. It's obviously horseshit, and so the alarm goes up, right?
Yeah.
So people won't. I've had to stop selling ARX for what it actually can do because it sounds literally unbelievable. And so the success stories we've seen are people who just don't bore us, get to the chorus. Just, hey, I have this thing. It does new technology, which is okay. Yeah, new technology, and it matches your resistance. Okay, cool. It tracks everything, goes up into the cloud. Oh, I like all of those things. I'm not going to tell you the good part is to save you all this time and it's better than weights and whatever. I won't tell you that. Why don't you try it?
Yeah.
So after they try it, don't believe anything you say. This thing tells the future, and it gives advice, and it goes back in time. It's I believe you.
Can I just make a few observations? So this is really interesting because I was having a conversation with Josh Jarrett over at Quantify Fitness. And great entrepreneur. And if you want to, I guess those listening to this and watching this who are interested in systems, like how to do systems well in this business, like
he's the best out of all of our customers.
Right. Wow. Okay.
By far.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he's great. And, he was saying to me that it's quite funny because the word of mouth thing almost isn't effective in the beginning because people will go away and say, like, they'll try and do exactly what you just said.
Right.
They'll try and sell the benefits.
It's a whole week's worth of workout in 6 minutes.
And their friends are like, and especially their friends, especially if they're out of shape, then it's a joke, right? Because they're like, come on, you need to put the time in.
Right.
But then long term, clearly that can turn around and that then becomes much more compelling if they've seen a transformation in their friend or family member.
So to that point,
Yeah.
the most successful businesses are the ones who they're testing on a regular basis using ARX. And I know we'll keep referencing Abe and Owen because they do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But Josh does the same thing. And a lot of our customers it's like, we're going to sign you up for a 6-week program. But they're going to have a test point at the beginning, the middle, the end.
That's consistent.
That's
Apples to apples.
consistent. And they're going to show their customers that this is how much we got you in this amount of time.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the selling point for them over and over again. So they don't just stop. Skylar Tanner, Smart Strength, he does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And he has a little flip book and he prints it out and he shows you or on the screen and he has to sit down with them when it's time to re-up their membership or whatever the case may be. And we show them the progress. We show them the quantifiable results that we're giving them. And I was looking at some numbers the other day of people for their unique users per month. So more is better.
Our administrative dashboard at ARX, we can see our customers and bare bones information like how many unique users they have signed up to their cloud account and then how many sessions per month they run, for instance. So we can see who's going up and to the right and just crushing it.
Yeah.
But most importantly, the people who are going up and to the right are doing it at a nice clip per month. But I'm not seeing any people go down. And so I'm wondering, well, I can go to a different customer and I can look at theirs and they have kind of a zigzag going. They lose some people and they add some people. They lose some people and they add some people. So retention is the key to your business, right? That is really how you grow and scale and then you continue to...
Well, you just don't need that many customers in this business, do you? I think it's hilarious. Like, I think when people realize you only need like 100 to 200 clients
in
per
your
studio,
whole community,
and you'll make a good you have a good amount of revenue for that.
Absolutely.
And it just makes you realize just how much opportunity there is right now globally for this stuff.
Well, especially a lot of people, so I'm on sales calls a lot, and a lot of people say, well, what if someone opens up near me? I say, well, you live in a town of 100,000 people. And so you and whoever else could be doing just business out the ass,
and you just collaborate with one another.
And trade ideas. And
I feel like that with regards, just not to digress too much, but I feel like that with regard to the my industry, the industry that's kind of helping the high intensity, the strength training business owner. You've got a few of us, like you've got Simon Shawcross over at Hit Uni doing courses. You got Luke doing the Real Hit conference, which is like an in-person, high value seminar for helping the business owner. And I just see us all like filling these needs. And even if there's overlap, it doesn't matter. It's just like there's so much opportunity and there's so much requirement for this, I believe.
It's a problem with the difference between I guess you go the old school motivational route of like creation versus competition. And I think real competition only exists when there is a scarce resource, like one position for 2 applicants at a company, or one bride for 2 suitors, or like when it's scarce resource. Our resource, really, at the end of the day, is people in the public who need strength training. So there is literally everyone. So anybody with muscles, as we say, can benefit. If you don't have muscles, we don't have anything for you. But anyone with muscles, you need this. And so the resource is not scarce. So we could all, like you say, there's a lot of overlap, and you could take my clients, I take your clients, and we could all be doing great business and still not have even scratched the surface.
Because that's the other thing. There is so much in the way of, I was just talking to Richard Wolf, who runs Med Fitness in Chicago the other day, and he has clients who travel to the warmer areas of the States during certain parts of the year.
Smart.
And obviously he has contacts over there who can train them when they go over there, and vice versa. And like that's beautiful,
We're getting a lot of that from our customers who say, hey, and here's the other cool thing about ARX, your data can be shared anywhere in the world.
Right.
So I can have my ARX data. Cool. And I can travel from Chicago to LA and go to an ARX equipped facility in LA, get on my phone, have my data uploaded into that machine. It's all in the cloud. And then now I can have my range of motion down to the 100th of an inch, same in LA as it is in Chicago, same everything. And it doesn't matter who the trainer is. It doesn't matter because I'm getting the same quality of workout, because ARX is ARX is ARX, and the resistance is the same. So it's like referring people. Hey, do you guys have any customers in LA? I got a customer client of mine who's traveling and wants to get their ARX workout and doesn't want to miss a week. Can you refer us to someone? And that's going to just just that's not going to go less. Great. That's going to be more in the future.
That's awesome.
The customers who are successful are abundantly
giving.
They have the abundant mindset.
Right.
Of that, exactly what you said, that if 5 people open up down the street, we should all get together and work together somehow.
That's awesome. And I'll pitch in to be at some local trade show to get even more of the community.
And sure, okay, so what, you're going to lose a customer one day and they go to the other guy. That's going to happen, right? And that's just the way it goes sometimes. But then the vice versa will happen.
And there's a lot of places that cut hair. And there's a lot of places that have barbells. And there's a lot of places, nail salons that all have the same paints. Sometimes it's not about the tool you're using. It's about, I like you.
Service.
I like you too, but I like you, and this is your service. You both have ARX machines, but I like you. And that'll happen.
Another comment I want to make, which I think is, I just want to kind of create this, or mention this, is because I think it's just as interesting, because I talk to you guys, and obviously I listen to, what you're saying there about what's working in terms of, you mentioned there about getting clients through the door and getting them on the kit. That is key. Even if we're not talking about ARX and we're talking about high intensity training in general, that is what it's all about. You cannot sell, or in my experience, sell this stuff very effectively at all without actually just getting someone to experience it. They have to feel it, right? Whether that's on ARX, whether that's on a Nautilus range or MedX or fill in the blank. And Luke does that so well. So I shouldn't say Luke, I should say Discover Strength, because their entire team are awesome. But they're very good at filling the funnel with people via the website, via referral, social media, what have you. And then getting people in the door and then having an amazing proven process. They actually call it the proven process. They have, and this is going to touch on something you said, they have a process on the wall, which, have you guys seen this? It's like a circular, seen it? So it's like, again, it's all about like tracking results, assessing it, modifying the program, and obviously that generates greater retention and referrals and all of that, and that's obviously key. And it's like they've refined that so well. Like they get, the person comes through the door and it's like, what are your goals? What are your interests? What are your motivations? Okay, great. I'm going to put you through this slightly tailored workout, and then I'm just going to drip feed you a few bits of knowledge that will be not congruent, but related to your goals. Because that's all they care about. And then the rest of the education is done through the experience and through the feeling of the exercises.
It's really about a service that they're providing.
Right.
They provide a different service by having that circle and walking people through.
Right.
So that when I walk in, I have access to weight machines anywhere I want right now. But Discover Strength, when I go there, I have access to weight machines and the service they're providing, which is the reason why anyone stays. You don't just stay because this is the best workout I've ever had. You stay because I like my trainer. I like the way that they treat me when I walk in the door. I like the feel that I get when I'm in this place. You brought up like salons and cutting hair.
Yeah.
I mean,
you get your guy.
When you have your
my
place,
guy who cuts my
20 years,
my nails.
20 years later, right? In the same place all the time. Like my mom's got her haircut at the same place since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of services that if you don't have something that's above average, you'll be commoditized and eventually just removed from the business world, and your business will close. Somebody else will build a better service and build a better process that makes their customer feel a better way.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter about your tech. It doesn't matter about all that stuff. That is good to get people in the door. But all of that needs to support the service that you're providing.
Yeah.
And the people who are doing the best right now are taking that to heart, and they see that as a true value for their customer and a value for their business, and they work on it all the time. They're always building better processes. They're always trying to get like their trainers to say the right things.
Yeah.
They're training their trainer on a regular basis.
It's
and like you were saying yesterday, this is not a magic bullet. It's not like here's an ARX, you will be successful.
Right. If you build it, they will come. And it's not the you plug it in and you have a business. That's not the case.
You out the door.
It is not the case. Yeah, they'll just come. The big seashell, conch shell. It's not like that. It's not like that. You have to cultivate.
Yeah.
So the ARX is cool, and for the person who has built those systems out and has done that, hey, it's the best tool for the job. It's better than weight. You could, for like tailoring something to the person.
Yeah.
Well, hell, now instead of this one field knife, now I have a Swiss Army knife. Now
like
negative only. Now we can do positive only.
Yeah.
Now we can do statics. Now we can measure it all. Now we can do time trial and countdown mode and reps mode, and any strength training protocol you've ever even heard of can be done easily and automatically and efficiently and quantifiably and safely on ARX with no spotters and no stacking plates, no pinning weight stacks, and no moving the seats.
I feel like you said that before, Jim.
Just a couple of times. Just a couple, 2, 3, 4 times.
I was well rest.
And so you could do all that, but even then, even with this great tool, like you said, you can't just put it in a room and go, all right, now it's time to watch the money roll in. It's going to be great. Then nobody shows up. So, so you need to build it out.
Very interesting to see the principles at work in this industry. And when we say in this industry, I mean, I guess to be more specific, I'm talking about like the one-on-one personal training, strength training space. It doesn't have to be just high intensity. And it is about just getting those things right, and focusing on them and refining them and creating systems. Mm-hmm. I think that's so key. Like anything you do in your business that's repetitive and it's important, create a bloody system around it.
Try to automate it.
Get a Google Doc. Depending on what, where you are in your business, what you might have in terms of budget for systems. But if you're at the basic starting stages, I mean, for my own podcast and blog and what have you, I have systems. I have, whenever I publish a podcast, I have a checklist, and so that I don't have to think about it every single time. I look at that and I'm like, regardless of where I am cognitively, I can just perform to spec and get it done. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what we need to be doing in our strength training businesses in order to repetitively provide a high quality of service at every stage, at every touch point with the customer. And that's certainly, I mean, I credit Discover Strength a lot with educating me on that and just seeing how effective that is for them. Sure. And where I see, and then I see patterns, because I'm in this all the time. I'm talking to all the business owners. I see, I talk to people like Richard at Med Fitness and Paddy and Dave Durrell over at Rock Solid. And, I see they will look at Discover Training, see what they're doing, and they're so inspired by their processes and how they do things. And they won't copy exactly, because that doesn't often work very well, because you have to implement it into your own culture and change it to make it congruent with all of that. Right. But they're taking the principles, let's say, and they implemented them, and lo and behold, they're doing amazing. I mean,
shocking.
Shocking. Right. And Richard had MedFitness had a crazy year, like a great year last year in terms of growth. And I believe that Oxford Fitness is doing great. And there's probably a few others that I haven't mentioned off the top of my head right now, but there's a pattern there, and the success leaves clues, right?
Yep. So it's history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes, and so you can just sort of like see what they're doing, and that's why principles are so important. You should, like you're talking about, you shouldn't have to. What should I do here? I shouldn't have to think about it all again, and because that takes time, it takes my bandwidth and my energy. Maybe I'm in a bad mood that day. Maybe I didn't get enough sleep. So maybe I'll come to the wrong conclusion if I go through the whole process of thinking about it all again. And how do I do this? After a podcast, what should I do? What should I do after I do this? But if you have these principles to abide by, I have this checklist. I have this SOP. I have this.
It doesn't sound very sexy, but it works.
Yeah, I don't know. I sprung half a softie. It sounds pretty good. But then you have that, and then, this is great. I don't have to think about it all over again now. Or even better, have someone else think about it, like Luke, and then you're like, I'll just do it.
Yeah, and obviously that's part of the process, isn't it? You scale up, you automate, you delegate.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you're gonna build a successful business, that's pretty.
Yeah, the people who continue to shine are the ones that take that to heart. They take it on as a challenge if they don't know how to do it, and they go read the books and Checklist Manifesto or whatever book they're going to read that's going to help to bring them into that business process mindset. Mm-hmm. And what they realize over time is that then frees them up to do the thing they really want to do, which is be excited about the technology, be excited about the heart of the healer that they have, right? And that they can go out and help people. Yeah. So now I don't have to worry about all this stuff. Like, I got a sales process, so when you're done, I'm going to put you through this, and it's going to be this little credit card swipe, and these are my prices, and we don't have to negotiate too much. I handle your objections quickly.
Yeah.
Like, those are very, very small things. Small, what do you say? Small hinges swing big doors?
Small hinges swing big doors.
Small hinges swing big doors. And once you have that in place, you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Now I can just show up in my business, hire out, small parts of it that need manual work to new trainers or, an ops person. Mm-hmm. And I get to do the thing I wanted to do, which is talk about this stuff, get excited about it, be continually involved in learning how to make it better and supply a service to my customer. Without having to worry about all the arduous stuff that happens in, kind of like white knuckling every day. Like, juggling 20 balls and this happened and that happened and this broke, and it's all smooth. It's all easy. We know where we're going, and that customer that walks in the door will feel the difference when you have those processes. They want to be sold. Give it to me, Lawrence. Tell me what it is that I need to have, and I'll pay you money for that eventually. Yeah. But that stuff, if it's not thought out, it's shaky, it doesn't come off as convincing, and those people leave.
And you're in a competitive market, right?
And they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you asked, what are the successful people doing? That's a good point of what are the unsuccessful people doing. One of the things we see when people are struggling, the opposite of that. And you probably run into this sometimes when you're helping a struggling business. If you try to make it about you, and your expertise, and if you're a stagecoach driver in 1902, and here come these taxi cabs and horseless carriages, I'm really good with the horses. It's like Office Space from 20 years ago. I'm a people person. That's why you hire me. So if I'm right, and I want to do everything myself because this business is about me.
Yeah.
But it's not about you. It's about helping people.
Yeah.
So you want it to be about you so bad that you want these tools and you're not going to change them, and these protocols and you're not going to change them because this is the best way and I'm sure of it, and it's a very ego-driven sort of thing. You're making the bed while the house is on fire. You're just your business is not going to go very well, but you're going to just this little tunnel vision minutia on things that's very ego-driven, and that's what keeps people from expanding. If I build in all these systems, well then why am I special? If the pitch is just made automatically and all the things I used to do is done for me, then what is there for me? And we run into a lot of that. So ARX, it chooses the weight for people. it does it automatically for everybody all the time, easily.
Yeah.
But I spent years. It's like an art and a science to put what weight to put. Oh, okay. Well, I still get to coach the turnarounds and the speed, right? No, actually, that's all done. Also, it's automatic and perfect for everybody. But I'm really good at counting backwards from 10 and coaching the turnarounds. And like, so now, what am I supposed to do? Like, someone far less qualified could do my job then. And you're like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Do you know how many purists you've just offended?
Yeah, of course. I had to go. But now, guess what?
The veins are exploding.
But guess what? The purists, and I used to be like that. I was really good. I trained at Citywide Super Slow in Chicago. And I was really, really good at counting backwards. I was really, really good at pinning the weight stacks and crack the weight stack just a little bit, 1 second to go 1 inch, and then just keep it. And I could really coach it really well. And there was an art and a science, and I want to go up 5% in weight, but I'm 8%. Yeah, see? And I was like really good. Oh, the knees swelling up. It's time to give you more weight than last time. And I was really the manual resistance just when it was needed. I got it's
funny because it's it's interesting. You talk about like people become obsessed with themselves and their skill set and everything, and it's the inverse of that is successful. I mean, I'm going to quote Tim Ferriss, who was quoting Tony Robbins, which is kind of weird because that's like a quote removed. Yeah,
you're basically all friends, but
I wish.
Yeah. The BFF.
Yeah, totally. No, he said, he was hanging out with Tony. This is Tim. For like some sort of entrepreneurial thing.
Sure, they all wear the big headdresses and robes.
All that stuff. Yeah. And obviously Tony is very successful, owns businesses that generate something like $5 billion in revenue. And during this weekend or this event, he kept saying over and over again, "Don't get obsessed with your product. Get obsessed with your customer."
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me chills when I heard that because I'm a nerd. But like. I was like,
we all get excited by different stuff.
Because that's how I feel about when I think about my business. It's like and again, this is not just him saying it. Luke says the same thing. Like everything you change or decide to do in your business across every touch point, think about your end user. Think about your customer. Is it going to improve? Who is your target market first? Who's your avatar? And is it going to improve their experience? And that's it. And it's like if you instead think about what you want for you, it's potentially going to backfire.
And the impact, like you think. Like the purists we were talking about, who are very into the art and science. I'm really good at this by now. It's been 2 decades and I'm just the best at this. What you think you want is to personally provide this great service you've learned how to provide.
Yeah.
But what you actually want is to have a larger and larger and larger impact on your community. So I only have so much time in the day. I'm the best at this, but I can only train these 80 people. That's just, I want to have a life. I want to do other stuff. I can only do these many sessions per month and I'm limited. But if I can let go of my ego, if I can bring in some more efficient equipment or hire people who can become part of a system I've built that outsources me, that makes it so I don't have to be there, I release my ego investment in it, which right now, down the small version, isn't what I want. I'm really good at this. But in the large version, it means I can expand. I can help more people. And so you got a choice. Would you rather do it the perfect way that helps 80 people? Or would you rather do it this other way that helps thousands of people? And some of the end user clients might not even know your name. They're at one of 6 of your facilities with someone who was hired by someone you hired. And they're training someone now. But with all your systems and with all your stuff in place and with the best tools that you have available that fit your budget, which are you happier with? And most people would have to begrudgingly agree that they'd be happier being not the one getting all the credit, and not the one being seen as the master, but helping far more people and having a bigger impact.
Ego is the enemy, right?
Yep.
So Ryan Holiday wrote the book on that, literally, and he echoes everything we're saying. So I just think of people watching this, if they want to learn more about how to understand how the ego is often working against them, and how you can really get what you want by pushing it aside, I think that's a great read for people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, sometimes success is like the ghosts in Mario, where if you look at them, they stop, and they don't get any closer, And you look away, do other stuff, and then success gets closer, and then you look at it and stops.
Right. Yeah. I vaguely remember that reference point.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes he gets a little off.
Some old school Mario. You kids out there don't understand about old school Mario with your...
If you were born after 1990, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Fortnite and your Smash Brothers and your nonsense.
No idea what we're saying.
How old are we all here?
We're both 34.
Okay, I'm 31.
Yeah.
I look like 10 years older than both of you, but that's because you wear blue blockers. Right?
Yeah, that's right. We wear blue blockers. I was out getting my morning sunlight this morning.
Right.
28 degrees in my shirt and just living the dream.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Like, how'd you do that?
Well, I woke up around sunrise and I looked and I saw there were no clouds. So whenever there's no clouds, I'm like, oh, game on.
Gotta get out.
And so I beeline straight. I just walked out the hotel and you just look for where the sun is.
Yeah.
It was just over the horizon.
Yeah.
And so I fired up my brain this morning by getting some sunlight in the only part of my brain that's exposed to the air, my eyes.
So what do? You just stand there and just like,
yeah, you don't look directly at the sun, obviously, but you do a little sun gazing and some breathing exercises. You don't need to do that, but I like to party. And so you just get that. Even just 10 or 15 minutes is great because that's not only a circadian signal to let your brain know what time it is, but also I'm traveling. And so every angle, every degree that it gets over the horizon, that's a different recipe of light because the atmosphere blocks a different degree of each part of the spectrum.
Right.
And so it's letting my body know what time it is, where I am on the earth, what season it is, and everything. So your body responds very powerfully to that in the same way that it's responding to this light. So we have junk food, we also have junk light. Yeah. And so to get that signal in the morning just helps me when I travel. Helps me
makes sense.
Everything. And also top-down control of all your glands, your thalamus, your hypothalamus, and your pituitary, and your thyroid, and on down the chain, all gets sparked by some morning light. Cool. So if you don't get that, it's a little bit like the difference between a conductor of a symphony when everyone's just warming up and before the show starts, and then when you see the morning sun, that's the maestro, tap, tap, tap. Yeah. Everybody.
This just flows, doesn't it? Out of it.
I mean, this is
he's like, even when we don't want it to.
It's not,
even if we don't want it to, it's just
don't get him off too tangential.
Yeah. Well, luckily we haven't even started the bourbon yet. Although it's almost noon.
It is almost noon. All that being said, I'll try to make some sense of that and wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
So those type of things, though, the ability to go do that, the ability to have your own morning, as a business owner.
Yeah.
That's so important, like to control as much of the process as you can to then leverage it for yourself, if that makes sense. So meaning that like I set processes in place, people that run those processes sometimes so that I can go and do the thing I either want to go focus on the things that I want to focus on, learn something new so that I can bring it back into my business. And if you get caught in that hamster wheel of always being the person that has to do everything and you haven't put a process in place to replace those things, the thing that you want most, either to help people, to grow personally, both, you're going to miss out on your full potential with that because you're just going to be caught up in the minutia on a day-to-day basis. And I say that knowing that I get caught up in the day-to-day minutia in our own business all the time.
Trying to build.
But if you're not actively at least able to separate yourself and your thoughts, to gain perspective, I should say, on that, to say like, man, I am doing stuff. I do this thing every day and it takes 15 minutes of my morning on a regular basis. Like, how do I not do this? Right? Like, what would this, Tim Ferriss, great quote, what would this look like if it was easy?
Love that.
Right? Well, it'd be great if, Jim was the one that had to go over this every day in the morning and like he has extra time in the morning where I don't and whatever the case may be. But just that shift in thought, you're like, okay, cool. I need these things. I need to be up in the morning and go and get my sunlight. Otherwise, like my life just sucks. I can't figure out how to make sense of my morning. So I'm going to pass off some morning things to a different person, or I'm going to automate something in the morning, or I'm just going to set up boundaries. I'm going to set up boundaries in terms of what time my clients are able to show up in the morning. If you're not a morning person, don't have people sign up for 6 a.m. Like strength training sessions or whatever you're doing. Just like we don't start until 8 o'clock. Yeah. But a lot of people just say yes to everything because they assume that like if they say no, the world's going to come down. Yeah. But smart business owners and smart businesses set appropriate boundaries for not just their customers, but for themselves so that they don't get overrun, that they don't become a slave to the business. Yeah. So I hope I tied that up somehow.
That's great.
Effectively.
Well, and while you're talking that, it made me think of like those morning things that you don't want to do, but you can get somebody to do. And like, it's the desire not to say no, because you feel like if I say no, I'm never going to see this person again. So, well, no, they might reschedule for some other time. But then also it's another opportunity for me to show how capable I am And in the same way that the people can think the cool thing is to help the 80 people and be the guy, instead of that, you could be seen as the person who, like in our particular case, the gym owner who their clients already like them. And if they bring on ARX, not only are they providing a better service because they have a better tool, but also they're seen as the guy who knows about ARX. Most of their clients have never heard about them. I didn't even know there was such a thing as these strength training robots. This is great. You're really cool because you're in the know and you're on the cutting edge. Yeah. You, the business owner, you're wow, this is really, really cool. I'm going to tell my friends about this. This place is legit. Yeah. And I know because we're not just using the same old technology. You're actually moving forward, and I like that. And so you're seen as this leader then in the community and in the area.
It's a good transition to what are some of the people, or what are some of the limiting beliefs that you hear from business owners who are struggling, or they're just in that mode of maybe they're trying to scale or grow, but I just can't get, I just don't, they think a certain way. Is there any pattern that you're finding with business owners that over and over again, you're like, well, they just, they have this one thing that they keep saying that if they say it enough,
sounds like nonsense.
Yeah, they keep saying it over and over again like it's true, but if they just thought the other way, maybe it wouldn't be true. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff from limiting beliefs.
I think there's a few limiting beliefs. I think one of the most common one is that they're not sure if the business model really works that well. So talking about maybe new strict training business owners. So some will have that. How do I get more clients? I'm not confident I can attract more people to my business.
What's the underlying side of that? They say they can't attract more clients to business. Are they not convinced that they have a product that is going to be valuable to people? Are they not convinced that they themselves?
I think it's more about the salesmanship. It's more about the ability to, because a lot of people have doubts about their ability to communicate the benefits of HIIT. Okay. And back to what I was saying earlier, I mean, well, to get around that, don't.
Right. Yeah. Just put people on.
Just ignore it.
Get them into. I mean, obviously, and Doug McGuff's talked about, plenty of people talk about this. You do have to know your stuff. You should read the literature. You should understand. You should read Body by Science. You should understand how these machines will improve someone's health and be able to articulate that to a degree, to a good enough level. But at the same time, getting on your soapbox and trying to preach, as we know, does not work very effectively. And in fact, it can do the reverse. So it's about So I guess. It's hard actually, like you've kind of caught me out, like it's hard to think what, common examples of this, but I do hear relatively frequently people saying that they struggle with the ability to articulate the benefits of HIIT, but it's almost the wrong...
They know, they're convinced, they're sold, and they're all about it. They started a business, and they're all... And so why is this good? Why should I do this? It's the
just
strength.
Try it.
It's your strength, and you... shit.
Just
try it.
You get all flustered and But I think in a way we've already kind of answered this in that the task is, the goal is to get them into the experience and then tailor it about them and not try and you don't have to make them convinced that it's going to give them cardiovascular improvements as well. Right. That's true, but it doesn't matter that they understand that fully or they understand the whole raft of downstream effects, not in the beginning.
Right. Well, it's like, I don't know if it was you or someone else last night, we were talking about how, people adding carol bikes to their high-intensity training businesses. Yeah. And so on one hand, the purists would say, you don't need that. You don't need anything for cardio because strength training, there's nothing that can be accomplished on a carol bike that's not already being accomplished inside the muscle during a high-intensity training workout.
Right.
All well and good. It's all true. But do you want to be right or do you want to help people?
Yeah.
So the person who comes into your business and says, what do you have for cardio? And you go, well, cardio is bullshit. And you don't need it. And you've been lied to. And you believed a lie. And I have the solution.
I swear to God, I've been in a facility when they called out a customer and told them they were wrong. Adamantly said that. And I had to pull that customer aside. And I'm like, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's not going to work. Right? You can't take that approach with them. Yeah. I know you're right.
Because what they don't realize is that person is actually right. They're right in their head.
That's fine. Meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
I reply, that's my line all the time. Yeah. Meet them where they're at.
And so it's you can have this person who finds that explanation to be abrasive. Even if okay, that's legit, but I don't like you. You were really in my face about that. I don't like that.
I'm wrong.
I'm not going to
come here. Who likes to be told they're wrong?
And so now, as a business owner, you don't get to help that person. They go off on their life and they never come back into your place of business. Or you could say, oh yeah, we
just,
do that.
Just for the record, like I've gone through this whole process myself. You know, I'm sure you guys have. When you first discover this type of training, you're like, why are you doing multiple sets? You're stupid.
Right.
You know,
you get really, it's the Dunning-Kruger thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, we banter like in our community because like, that's fine. Because like, we get it. But like, when you're talking to people who aren't aware of this stuff, like, yeah, it goes back to like, the way you communicate effectively, like we talked about. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I was terrible. Like, I really worked hard to try and convince people to believe what my way of thinking. And over the course of time, talking to people like you and talking to the guys, understanding that that's not actually, it's a waste of energy. It can become very stressful as well when you feel obligated to
defend your...
you're on the defense.
Well, as much as it hurts when you hear someone like I was just having breakfast with Richard Chartrand this morning, and he was saying, I was speaking to someone, he said, you know, I ran marathons and I've injured both my knees quite badly, but you know, they're getting better. I should be able to run marathons again soon. It's like, in your head, you're like, oh my God, I can't even like process that. Like, it's just so stressful.
That's like the CrossFit thing. My right arm fell off of my torso, but the doctors are hopeful that they can reattach it. I'll be able to do CrossFit in another 6 months. Yeah. What are you talking about? Are you insane? But there's
so much wrong with that.
There's with whatever it is. I use my example about this was with whiskey, with bourbon. When I first discovered bourbon, you start to get into it. And then very quickly, you try better and better stuff. And this can happen with wine or cigars or cars or diamonds or watches or whatever. Yeah. And you get better and better quality, and you become a snob. Yes. At the height of your...
you grow a mustache. Right?
Yeah, then you twirl the mustache. And the monocle, I left the monocle in the hotel room. But you start wearing gentlemen's hats and cravats and things. But so what happens is that's wrong. It's like that whiskey is wrong somehow, or like that. And this, I wouldn't be caught dead. I wouldn't feed that to my dog. And this. And then as you start to mature and you start to learn more and get out and see the world and see other people's perspectives, and you come full circle.
Yes.
You start out whiskey's whiskey.
Well said.
And then you get stuck, and then you come full circle, and you're like, yeah, whiskey's whiskey. And so I used to think that life was too short for shitty bourbon, but now I realize there's plenty enough time. So in the same way, it's like in high intensity training, you start out and you start learning about all this. You read the Nautilus bulletins, and then you read McGuff and John Little, and then you read just the rabbit hole goes very far down. And you get very snobbish, and you get very putting other people down if they don't agree, and calling their things stupid. And then you come full circle, and you realize someone tells me I just messed up both my knees running marathons, but I'll be able to run marathons again. Like, that's awesome, man. That's great. We thought about we have these machines that have eccentric contractions that can help with bone density and tendon and ligament resilience. Have you thought about doing a little bit of that?
Yep.
To help make you more robust in the future. Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you, man. I'll come check that out. Yeah. Or we have isometric contractions you can do. Yeah. And like when I was training people in Chicago at the ARX showroom, there were two guys who did MMA training 3 or 4 times a week, and they were just burning the candle at both ends and doing way too much volume. And cool, that's awesome. Hey, I don't want to do any concentric work with you. You guys do plenty of concentric work already. How about just some negative only stuff? Let me meet you where you are, see what you need, and find a service that'll fit you. And then, any variation of that. So to your point, it's easy at first to get up on the high horse. And it's my way is the best way and the only way, the one true way. And anybody who's not doing like this.
No true Scotsman.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we don't begrudge the Owens and Abes of the world, or another guy, Marshall Oken, who runs a super slow facility in the North Shore of Chicago, have ARX and MedX.
Cool.
Awesome. That's great. And we think there's a place for all of that. And there's lots of places that have dumbbells and barbells and kettlebells and elastic bands and springs and ARX machines and everything else in between. Awesome. That's great. It's just more tools for the job. And some people, like you're talking about, some people come in, they go, I just want the medicine. It's like the guy who goes into the bar and just says, for whatever reason, I just need to drink for effect tonight. I have no sentimental, I don't need any cocktails, just give me a shot of Everclear or something. And so, okay, we have that. And then someone comes in and wants an appletini. And they like to, when they drink, they like to put their pinky up and have fruity juice. We have that too.
It's a good analogy though.
And so when you're the business owner, we got everything you need. We got even if you have 2 ARX machines, an infrared sauna, and a cryo, and that's what you have, with ARX, you don't need to just do high intensity training with it. You can do any type of training with it.
Yeah.
And so to not be dogmatic is to increase the field of available customers for you. And so that's what we see with the most successful of our people are like, yeah, we don't shit on anyone for their beliefs about the workout thing. It's like, yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
How you doing on time?
Yeah, probably need to wrap up. Because
Anything else that
what
you
time
want
is it
to
now?
It's
Got 10 after 11.
10 after 11.
Yeah, I could go a little bit longer if you want, although I am getting a little fatigued.
Long travel.
That's what we're about here at the REC is deep levels of fatigue.
Deep levels. We're inroading you slowly.
We're inroading your mind.
Conversation.
That's right.
Anything in particular that you had written down or you want to talk about?
Yeah, I
That we
would
didn't-
like.
Chemical structure of preposterone. How's it built?
Yeah, I'd like to just learn a little bit more about you guys in terms of the roadmap. Like, what is the ARX roadmap for like the next 12 months? What are your goals? I guess 1 to 3 years. I don't know how far you guys plan ahead, but I'd love to learn about that.
Yeah, we're definitely at that stage now where we've had enough track record to see like, okay, how are we trending over time, right? And so the last 3 years, just as a general like metric that we use is like how many total sessions are happening on ARX right now in the world. And so we went from like, I forgot what it was, like 3,600 or something like that in like 2015.
In 2014, it was a hilariously low number of
And
sessions.
most of
There was
those,
only
yeah.
like,
And so we didn't have that many machines in 2015, but 2016 we started the newest model, like the design style. In 2016, 2017, 2018, we started increasing the amount of machines in the world. And since 2015, we have doubled the amount of sessions every year. So what does that mean? That means in 2018, last year, there were 80,000 sessions, unique sessions of exercise that happened
in the world
on ARX. So when we look back at kind of the progression that we've had in the last few years, to see those numbers and to know that not only do we have 180 machines right now in the world,
just under
that are going out, but like we'll have another 100 probably this year that we'll put out, and those numbers are going to continue to grow. And what that means is ultimately that we're helping more people, and that we're creating an opportunity for people to create businesses that have this foundational machines at the core of their business that they then can build around. And so we don't want to be the exclusive, like you need only ARX in your facility kind of company. We're much more abundantly, I keep saying abundantly, we're like abundant mindset behind this whole thing where we want to include all of the other vendors that are going to help somebody get to the goals that they want to get to.
Yeah.
And so we got Chris Cucciara, Pismo Beach, who's got that Hocket unit. Hocket unit. And
What is that? What is that?
Oh man, he can explain it really well. It's a combination of many biohacking things all in one. It's grounding, it's PEMF, it's hyperbaric, it's ozone therapy, and probably 4 things I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got lights as well. It's PBM, photobiology.
Yeah,
as well.
he did touch on this on the call with me. But,
On the install, I worked hard on that install. He goes, hey, how about you grab a half hour in the Hocket? We went to dinner and grab a half hour. So I got my towel, I got the Hocket up to the head, and there was, I detoxed onto that. You could see the little black specks of like, I was like, this came out of me? He goes, yeah, man, that's awesome. It's really cool.
We got technologies like that are sitting side by side with ARX. But the best part is that a lot of those are very high level, much longer teaching cycle, if you will, for people to understand the benefits of photobiomodulation. Like that's brand new for pretty much the entire world right now. Not in our little circle, but that's a really small circle. But the thing that everybody knows that they need is exercise. And so I can tell my mom that this is just exercise, and she'll get excited about that because she knows the value of exercise, either because she used to exercise or somebody told her.
It's like a microwave oven. It's like an oven, but it's faster and you can put it in the it's better. Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like cooking stuff. I like eating food that's warm. And so you go through the process, and what we kind of say is ARX is the gateway drug to all of these other technologies that are going to be much more in demand as the world that we live in becomes more demanding. So when you're traveling on a plane from Galway, that's many, many hours above the surface of the earth in an EMF created just little
big metal tube getting microwaved.
And you got crappy lights and you're not sleeping well and you're not connected to the circadian rhythms anymore. And so you're struggling right now internally. All the things that are happening, like there's no bicep curl or leg press that's going to solve what's happening for you. Like it'll make you feel better maybe in the moment, but there are
sick pump won't fit your jet leg.
There's a voltage problem that's happened over course. And like this is not necessary to understand what we're talking about, but know that this will be the future as we'll start to look at human physiology, we'll start to look at the holistic approach, whether you're going to your doctor or you're going to your strength training facility or you're going to the hotel that has like a room now that you can just go and you're like, I know what that machine is and I know what that is. And exercise is the gateway into that because it's the easiest to understand and most people already have a good grasp of it and they know it's good. They know it's beneficial to do. Yeah. So when we look forward, our goal is always to try to be that foundational piece in people's businesses, in people's homes even, that just ushers them in to, I figured this exercise thing out. Thank you, ARX, for making this very simple for me. Yeah. Now what else can I go work on? It's like, oh man, I got the skin issue, or I'm like
not sleeping right.
Yeah, my sleep sucks, and like so I can go learn about all this stuff because the exercise portion is almost an afterthought. It's so good, it's so effective, it's so efficient. Yeah. Don't even have to think about it. Just sit on there and crank and go.
So it's like where we're headed is being part of and partnering with all these other technologies, these other companies. Yeah. We know these guys. We're going to dinner with these guys. We're calling these guys. We're bringing them into the fold so that our customers who are only interested in ARX at first, most of them, it's cool, I want to start up. We say, have you thought about adding in this PEMF bed? Have you thought about adding in this and that? And then all the things he was talking about that helps people on a cellular level, helps people's on a voltage level, if you want to think of it that way.
It's logical.
So that's where we're headed because the food supply and the EMFs are getting more and not less. 5G is rolling out, and then 6G is going to roll out, etc. And that's not 1-to-1, like 4 to 5. It's exponential. It's not logarithmic.
So you can read the tea leaves, right? Like we see where we're going in terms of the society, and the United States is just fervently leading the world in terms of diabetes and being obese and all the other things.
And funnel cakes. We're the world leader in funnel cakes.
Funnel cakes, diabetes.
And it's at a carnival. At a carnival, it's instant diabetes. It's fantastic. It's like this fried dough, basically.
Powdered sugar. And
it's great. Your foot goes numb halfway through. It's a great treat.
One thing I want to ask you is, I know I'm just thinking about those watching this who are maybe starter ARX businesses or thinking about investing in ARX or similar technology. Like, what do you do because I know you have, I believe you have maybe a Facebook group where you do some kind of sort of sales support, like help companies get started. Yeah. Obviously, I do that with the podcast and some of my services, but I'd be interested in knowing, what do you guys provide customers with on that side of things?
So we have, because we're not a franchisor, we're not legally allowed to execute any ad campaigns or anything for any of our customers.
Okay.
But we like to tiptoe up to that line as close as we can by providing all the raw material that someone would need to begin the day they sign the contract and deposit their security deposit and their machine starts being made. If they want to start marketing right now, they don't have to create any content. So we provide all the raw material that their media guy or whoever they hire would be able to just drag and drop. It's high resolution, high quality images of the machines and the software, different demographics using it. There's some ad copy. There's a business development guide. There's what we call our customer toolkit. There's this Google Drive folder that has...
Excellent. Yeah, because I noticed, obviously, they all embed your excellent demonstration video, right? They embed it on the website. Sure. So that's excellent. That's really valuable.
Yeah, there's a series of embeddable videos. Great. For splash pages, landing pages, Instagram ads, Facebook ads. They take that, they slap their logo on it, and they put however they want to do it, but the image and the raw material, we provide that. We created that content.
And you were saying before, like, listen to your customer, right? And basically just provide them whatever they're asking for.
Yeah.
So
has this been the result of that?
Yeah, I mean, as we start to grow and continue to grow, I should say, we just hear these themes over and over again from customers. Hey, I'm struggling with explaining what ARX is.
Can you give us your elevator pitch?
And so, cool, we'll write it out, but we also make a 1-minute video that you can slap on your website. And so that's where that just never ends for us.
Yep.
The more customers we have, the more unique models that are starting to be built, they have unique needs. We're like, oh man, like
Never even thought about that.
Never really thought about, like, we probably need a protocol that includes, like, how would you, if you had these 3 devices, which people are starting to have more regularly.
Yeah.
Like,
what order? Do you do the sauna, then ARX, then the cold? Do you cold, then ARX? Then what would you guys do?
Carol bike on Tuesday or Wednesday? Like, what?
Yeah.
Before the workout, after the workout? Can you combine the two?
And so there's a lot of support like that.
Yeah.
It's just it's evolving always, but it's our goal as a company to make sure that we are supporting our customers with that, because this is a new frontier. This is definitely some new stuff.
It could be quite scary for new business.
It's intimidating.
It's like Henry Ford in 1903 dropping off a car and saying, "Well, good luck.
Yeah,
I'll see you."
Similar, isn't it? Yeah.
What do we do? What does it eat? What type of shoes does it wear? Well, it's not quite like that. It's
not a horse.
So yeah, there's that sort of support that we give, and then there's a Facebook group. So there's this private Facebook group that every ARX practitioner has access to. And so that's the wisdom of crowds. You pop in, hey, I got a guy who's got this problem, he's got MS, and he's got the use of one leg, and he did this, what would you do? And everyone's happy to pop in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we just did our first certification.
That's
so
right.
Our first certification last October, which was a success. We had 22 of our customers,
22 people
both current and future customers that eventually
Yeah.
will get their machines. So that was fantastic for us to be able to put everybody in the same room, or a majority of them, and be able to just hear them out, be able to instruct them on some of the basics and put some context to it, and be able to go back and forth with it. Because like you said, it's very intimidating for some of these people who aren't nerdy about this stuff, who haven't read every word of Body by Science,
Right.
and, like, are able to recite it on demand, right? Like it's such a small percentage of people.
You forget that. So when you're stuck in the bubble, you're in
Right.
an echo chamber, you think everyone knows this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to be the ones to frame it appropriately for them, so that it's tangible. They can take it home. They can regurgitate it to their customers, and oftentimes we have to also format some things better for them in terms of understanding how to use the technology that they've purchased. And that means we have to know about PEMF and photobiomodulation and Carol, and we have to be more diverse in terms of what our knowledge base is as a company, so that we can support them.
And we can explain and sell each one of those things as well.
Yeah.
And that's part of we don't want to just be strength training. ARX, like where we're headed as a company, it's this idea of, there's strength training, but our stuff is so good that the strength training part just sort of takes care of itself after it's kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take that for granted, and then what are we doing next? And like you said, it's the gateway drug, but it's the cornerstone, the small hinge around which the big door can turn.
Right,
all those other
yeah.
things.
The certification you mentioned, is that like recognized in the US as like a personal training certification? Like
No.
okay, right.
Yes, it's not an accredited continuing education credit.
Right, okay.
It was just, we decided to throw a party one weekend and have a bunch of our friends in and teach them about
So
it.
but it is to, I guess the purpose of it is to, I guess, acquire some skills around using ARX as an operator, but also have the credibility as well.
Yeah, and foundational knowledge
Yeah.
about strength training in general. So we talk about the sliding filament model of contraction.
Right,
We talk
okay.
about the basics of cardiovascular, how glycolysis works, the Doug McGuff
Cool.
spiel. We do that. So there's a lot of physiology involved, a lot of biomechanics. And then we build on that foundation. So how does ARX fit into that? And then finally, it's ARX specific, a lot of hands-on. How do you program the software, and how do you manipulate the machine, and how do you explain it, and how do you sell it?
Cool. Great.
So in the future, I mean, every airport, every hotel, like, it should be an exercise. If we've done our job, should just be an afterthought for most people.
Yeah, like every room has air
Brushing the
conditioning.
team, right?
Yeah, brushing your teeth. Like,
Exactly.
everyone knows that we need to do it. It's super simple to do. I just need to invest a small amount of my time and a good chunk of effort and intensity towards it, and I'm going to get all the benefits of that. What's next? What else you got for me? Like, now I'm going to go start a business and I have the time to do that, or I'm going to run my family and be home for dinner, and I don't have to be at the gym after work, for an hour. That is the future, from our perspective, and we're going to work hard to make sure that we're trying to get as many machines out there in the world, and as many good, knowledgeable, enthusiastic business owners who have those machines,
Who have viable businesses.
to perpetuate
People
that
like you.
and then spread that out even further, right? Like, we don't need to be the ones to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
We want the world to adopt this, because it's that important for us as a mission to help that many people. So that's where we're going.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for today, guys.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, excited to get the conference started.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Go see some stuff.
Yeah,
I guess that's all we got. Let's go drink some coffee. Let's go enjoy life.
Amen.
And
let's go get some hooch.
We'll catch you guys soon.
Later on.
Discover how to improve health, become a great personal trainer, and build a successful high-intensity strength training business. Check out corporatewarrior.co. corporatewarrior.co.